We've been focusing, a little bit on the change in the team and the tactics, but actually the whole environment around the club has changed since he came in.
Definitely.
You probably agree, and I think most Blues fans would agree. There was a lot of toxicity, particularly in the reign of Rooney, and then Tony Mowbray's come along, and the players seem happier. You see them having a laugh in training. If you watch the videos, they're always having a laugh. They seem quite happy on the pitch and content.
So welcome back to Small Heath Alliance FC, and in this video we're going to be discussing all things Tony Mowbray and already the immediate impact he's had at Birmingham City. Now I'm sure all Blues fans woke up on Monday to that dreaded news that unfortunately Tony's going to be taking 6 to 8 weeks away from the club while he focuses on an unexpected health problem with him and his family. Now Mark Venus is going to be filling in Tony Mowbray's place. And I'm sure all Blues fans and the football wider community are all behind me when I say we wish nothing but love and support to Tony and his family during this difficult time. And some things are bigger than football, and family and health are certainly two of those things. Now, I can't wait to get Tony Mowbray back at St.Andrews, back in the dugout, so we can get Tony Fantastico singing around the ground, so we can really show our appreciation in person. But let's get into it. So, Dad, let's talk about Tony Mowbray and the impact he's already had at Birmingham City.
Yeah, well said, Matt. I mean, I don't need to repeat anything of what you said, but, we do wish Tony Mowbray and his family a speedy recovery. And as Matt says, look forward to having you back when you're fit and healthy. But this video is all about Tony Mowbray, as you said, Matt. We're talking about his positive impact. And I'm thinking about, as you were doing the intro, I was thinking, what a roller coaster season we've had. We started off with John Eustace, and obviously everybody knows the story about how he was sacked, and then Wayne Rooney came in, and that didn't work out. And then finally we get a manager that, in my opinion, is perfect for us. He fits absolutely like hand in glove. He's experienced. He's got a really good win ratio, and that's already been seen in the games that we've seen already. He's only had 6 league games so far in charge of our club, and he's got 10 points from those 6 games. Wayne Rooney had 15 games and he got 10 points. So already, Tony Mowbray. So one of the positive impacts already is that we're winning more games and getting more points.
Yeah.
So that's what football's about, isn't it?
I think points aside, we look way more comfortable and stable as a football club, though, don't we?
Yeah.
It was like when Mowbray came in, he's renowned for that quite sensible approach, but he likes to play in the opposition's half. He likes to play on the front foot, but he likes to do it without risk. And I really like that approach, when Rooney was in charge. And we're not going to give Rooney too much airtime. This isn't a Rooney video, but it is just a reference to show how far we've came here. And the players look way more comfortable. And I know he's added a few additions. We've got Dazal and we've got Paik and Pritchard, and they are making a big difference. I mean, Pritchard's only had the one game, he's been injured, but Dazal and Paik, we definitely notice a difference with them playing on the front foot. But even Mowbray's presence and his style, and, this is going to sound really cheesy, but even when I listen to him in a press conference and it's 10 minutes, I could listen to him for an hour.
Yeah,
like, he's in a weird way, he's got quite a charismatic approach to football. Like, I can listen to him talk all day long. He's brilliant. I really love the guy.
Oh, I watch his his press conferences and that. I've finished. I want to go and run through a wall. I do. And I'm not even one of his players. But you mentioned 2 players there that he would have had a major role in bringing in Paik and Dazal, and obviously Pritchard, as you mentioned, had half.
Apparently, he's been after Dazal for years.
Yeah, he has. But the reason that he realised that we needed those players is because that he wanted us to have a more forward-thinking approach or philosophy to our football match, football games, and we've already seen that. So now, whereas under Eustace and Rooney, we often saw, because I think it was maybe because the players didn't have the confidence to do it. They were playing the ball backwards and sideways, and I remember, I think after the second game in a post-match interview, he said that he got really frustrated when our players, Birmingham City players, started playing the ball back in a horseshoe, and eventually it went back to John Ruddy. That's clearly changed already in the games after that, where the players seem much more confident. I think it's because they feel now under his stewardship and his coaching and his team, they know what they're doing.
Yeah. It was like the players' default was to look backwards or to go sideways, and their default has changed to go forward. And you made a really nice analogy in the post-Blackburn video, and you used the word pinball.
Yeah.
But the only way that we have pinball football, and I know it's a little bit of a silly term, but a lot of our goals have been bodies in the box, back, post, keeper, player in the net.
Yeah.
But the only reason only way we score those goals is to have players in the box. And under Eustace and Rooney, we didn't have that. Well, We did to some extent with Rooney, but it made us so much more vulnerable at the back because
Yeah.
we were all like press into a
Yeah.
high line, high press. Whereas Mowbray's just got us set up so much more
Yeah.
compact. We've got bodies in the box moving forward. We're front footed. The football, dare say, it's slightly more exciting than it's ever been in the past few years since I remember. And for me, it's all about how the players look and feel, and they look more comfortable. They look more confident. And I know the exact moment you're talking about. We caught a team on the break. I can't remember what it was. It might have been his first game against Swansea, and it was 4-on-4. And as the attacking team, and you've got the momentum, 4-on-4 is a pretty nice position to be in. I think it was Bielek just turned around and pinged it back. And I remember looking at Tony Mowbray, and he had his hands in the air, and he jumped on the spot 2 or 3 times because he was so frustrated.
It was Bielek, yeah.
It was Bielek, yeah, and he was so frustrated that he came back instead of forward. But even with his 6 games in charge, we're already seeing a massive difference with how we go forward with the ball, and it's so nice to watch. As a Blues fan who's had, no disrespect, Eustace did a good job, but it was that that sort of sit back style of football. To have this, I think it's just, as a Blues fan, it's really entertaining. And
well, it should be exciting as well, because we've got literally Tony Mowbray has got John Eustace's team, really, because obviously we can't say Wayne Rooney's team because he never brought anybody in, so it's John Eustace's team, and he's got them playing like that with the addition of just a couple of players. Now, I think what's been absolutely key to our change is the change of the midfield. Under Eustace, it was always Bielek and Sunjic for this season in the middle. And to be fair to Sunjic, he's done exceptionally well this season. He came back off loan and everybody thought he won't play for Blues again. So to be fair to him, he played well in that system. But that change has made a massive difference. So firstly, which I think is a really brave decision. Well, I call it brave, but it's probably not. It's probably a knowledgeable decision. He's put Bielek as a centre half. And I think he's done really well there. And that's freed up a place in midfield, because obviously now we've got Paik in there, who's came in January, alongside we've got Dozal, who's also came in January. But we've tinkered around with a few players. Rooney tried all sorts of people in the middle. We had Bakuna in the middle and Jordan James in the middle. We've even, I think, Miyoshi one game was playing in the middle. But now we've got a almost structured central midfield, which I think is the engine room of the team. Then Bielek at the back. So Bielek hasn't lost his place. He's just in a different position. So I think what he's done is he's brought a bit of tactical experience of his knowledge of the players. But the exciting thing is that we haven't really got any new players yet. And what will Tony Mowbray do with this team once he gets some more players that he actually wants? It's really exciting.
It's not even some players. In the summer, there's going to be a massive clear out. We've got so many players who are coming to the end of their contract. I think a couple of players will be sold as well. I think it's pretty much going to be effectively pretty much a brand new team when we start next season. I really do. And the fact that Tony Mowbray is going to be doing the transfers, he's clearly got a plan. And look how people talk about him. And the Sunderland fans were fuming when he got sacked. Yeah. And even now, when Beale got sacked at the weekend for Sunderland, all the Sunderland fans were going, "Can we have Uncle Tony back? Can we have Tone back?" And it was quite funny. And Ipswich fans were dropping us message. We're there at the weekend. They were saying they're going to give him a brilliant reception because he's a brilliant. Yeah. A brilliant guy. Everyone speaks about him so warmly, and he just comes across like a nice bloke. I think he's won the dressing room from a little bit of toxicity there that might have been left behind. And for me, those players are looking like they want to play for this manager, and that's all down to Tony Mowbray.
Absolutely, and I think you hit something on the head there. We've been focusing, a little bit on the change in the team and the tactics, but actually the whole environment around the club has changed since he came in. Definitely. You probably agree, and I think most Blues fans would agree. There was a lot of toxicity, particularly in the reign of Rooney, and then Tony Mowbray's come along, and he's the players seem happier. You see him having a laugh in training. If you watch the videos, they're always having a laugh. They seem quite happy on the pitch and content. And even the fan base now, when Rooney was there, I mean, we pretty much had a target on our back, didn't we, as a club with Wayne Rooney? Yeah. And that's no disrespect to Rooney as a person. It's just that with his profile and his reputation, we were just a target, and that fed into the crowd. Now, completely different. Match day, there's a lot more confidence around the place, and I think people really have bought into the fact that Tony Mowbray is our manager and he's going to take us forward.
I think with how good Tony Mowbray is, it shows how bad Rooney actually was. Might sound a little bit controversial, but I did watch his podcast episode that went live. At the time of recording, it went live yesterday, and it seemed like Rooney had just picked up from where he left off. Excuses, no accountability. When he was at the club, he was blaming the players. Now he's left the club, he was blaming the fans. Whereas Mowbray's just like a professional. He's just an all-round nice guy. He knows what he's doing. He loves and breathes football. I think I saw a couple of interviews with the players, and they say his passion for football always comes across, and it's so contagious. Even on the training field, when he's talking about his tactics or what he wants to do, he's so passionate. You can't not want to play for this guy.
No, he's and you can see that, can't you? You know, the players seem to have bought into what he wants. It's hard to say anything that negative in what he's done. I think that's partly because what we've come off the back of with the reign of Rooney it was so bad that whoever came in would have probably improved us. But the way this has been done, Tony Mowbray has taken us to a level which so quickly that, I mean, don't get us wrong, we're not suggesting any Blues fan or any other fan of a club that's watching this outside of Blues, we're not suggesting that our club is brilliant and we're going to do anything major this season. But what Tony's done is give us that confidence back. He's restored the fan base. He's connected the team back to the fans, and the whole environment's different. And you've mentioned one thing there that I haven't mentioned, but I had in my notes, that he's just a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's the type of guy you could imagine, like, invite him around for a cup of tea, you sit at your table, have a great conversation with him, he'd be quite happy.
Yeah.
There's no authority about him. He's just a normal guy who you feel he just connects.
Yeah. And he doesn't he doesn't seem like a manager who wants to hug or steal the limelight. We were at that Stoke away game, and I think all the fans were going, I hope he comes over and gives us a big clap. But all he did was he walked over, put his thumb up, gave us a little clap, and then went back down the tunnel. He wanted the attention to be on the players who got the 3 points. And what a brilliant gesture. I mean, I was like, as if he went... For a split second, I was like, as if he went down and ignored us all. But actually, in hindsight, it was just a clap, thank you for coming, thumbs up, and then he went down the tunnel. And I like a manager who doesn't want to take all the limelight. And I like him as well because he's not scared to take risks. I mean, look at the Blackburn game, 7 changes. I think a lot of Blues fans before that game would have been like, that's a risky strategy to do, and look, it paid off.
Oh yeah.
And I like a guy. I like a manager who's not afraid to change the team around. No one's indispensable, And he's had that time now, Mowbray, where he's kind of tinkered with the team. He's kind of got the team set up, and I think the way he likes it. And I think if you look at the Blackburn game and the Sunderland game, okay, sloppy areas and disappointing parts of the game, but overall, what a difference we're making. Absolutely. What a team. It's a pleasure to go down to St.Andrews again.
It is a big difference. So just one final point for me before we finish today is that, I read some articles in the press, and there's lots of articles that they're just rubbish. And but there were some articles suggesting that Blues, now that Tony's stepped down for 6 to 8 weeks, that they were going to looking at appoint an interim manager. Okay, now just to make it clear to anybody that's watching this, our manager is Tony Mowbray. Okay, we don't need an interim manager. We've got Mark Venus, who knows the blueprint of Tony Mowbray like the back of his hand. He will take on Tony's philosophy, so that when Tony does come back, Blues are still playing his style of football, and he can just step right back into his shoes. It wouldn't make any sense to have an interim manager.
No. Also, hasn't Mark Venus been by his side for the best part of 15 years?
Yeah.
So he knows Tony Mowbray inside out. And also, what I've been hearing is, obviously, Tony Mowbray has asked for his privacy, and rightly so, with his family, so no one knows what the illness is or what the extent is. But I believe he'll still be having calls with Mark Venus and still doing little bits and bobs around. Of course, his health is the priority. I would never want Mowbray to do that to any risk of his health or his family. But I've been hearing that he's still going to be having conversations with people, still checking in, still doing FaceTimes. It's what I've been reading.
I think that was part of the statement from Blues as well, about that as well. But what I would say to the Blues fans is that, while Tony is away, let's all get behind Mark Venus, because if we're supporting Mark Venus, we're supporting Tony Mowbray. And there might be times when we lose games, or maybe don't have the results that we want. But we're Birmingham City. We get behind our team, and let's do this for Tony. Let's stay strong with him, and also give as much support we can to Mark Venus, so that when Tony does come back to the club, it's all ready for him to go, and we're all fired up and ready for another season in the Championship to really have a push and see what we can do next season.
Yeah, it's exciting times to be a Blues fan, isn't it?
It really is, absolutely love it.
Yeah, and I think Mark Venus will be fine. He's got the experience. He's been by Mowbray's side all that time, so I have no doubt he's going to do a cracking job. As you say, our manager is Tony Mowbray. I'm against an interim manager. I think Mark Venus will be just as good in his place. And yeah,
I'm completely
I
against it.
just can't. Yeah, that's
Because just for have a scenario where they did get an interim manager, he's going to have his own ideas, his own philosophies, and if that's again the players adjusting to what will be a fourth manager in one season, it's just too much. And with where we are in the season, I don't think it'd work anyway. Tony's still our manager. He might be away. He's still our manager. Mark Venus now is going to step into those shoes and just take the lead for a few weeks and steer us ready for when Tony comes back.
Yeah. I just want to jump back in. You said he seems like a nice guy, and I read a little article in preparation for this video, and it was he took the Sunderland job, and actually I didn't know much about pre-manager Mowbray. He's actually a Middlesbrough player, and he was a captain at Middlesbrough.
I remember.
So going to Sunderland was seen as a controversial move, but he wanted to go to Sunderland so he could do the school runs, be with his family, have dinner with his wife and stuff. So he said his own son wasn't very happy with the decision, and a few family members weren't happy with the decision, and a few Middlesbrough fans weren't happy. But he did that decision so he could be close to his family, because he said when he was at Blackburn, it was a 2.5 hour drive twice a week. He goes, it was horrible. So that really aligns with my values, that he's put his family as close to the front line as he possibly can in this job. And football is a difficult job, especially as a manager. You live away from your family, you're travelling, you're on the road all the time. But from a man of a dad of two young boys, I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. When I read that article, it kind of warmed me a little bit that he is the kind of guy who will make decisions based around his family, and he's not scared to do that. And that to me shows a real strong character, and those values very much align with mine.
Yeah, very much. As I say, there's not really much we can say that's what we already said really about Tony. I'm just thankful. All I can be is just thankful that he's our manager.
Yeah. So I just want to end this video in the same way that we started, and I just want to offer Tony Mowbray and his family nothing but love and support as they go through this turbulent time. And please drop us a comment below with your love and support for Tony, and we will be sure to get in touch with Birmingham City Football Club, forward that on, and who knows, he may actually see that message himself. But for now, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future content.